Entrepreneurship is the new trend right now. Everybody's waking up and they decide I want to start up my own business. People in a professional career are just quitting to start up their own thing, basically because they want to be in control of their time, in control of their income. The question is it the right decision to make? I myself have been in that question. Do I really want to quit engineering for entrepreneurship? In this video, join me as I unveil how to integrate being an entrepreneur as well as your professional career. Hello beautiful people, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, The Black Wallet. Today, like I mentioned earlier, I will be talking about how you can integrate your professional career and being an entrepreneur. Why is it important? What are the challenges that are faced in the integration, and how can you go about it? Where do you begin from? Basically, that's what we talk about in today's video. I want us to understand, what does it mean to integrate? To integrate simply means to combine. You're integrating your professional career and being an entrepreneurship. You're combining both of them. You must first understand, what does it mean to be in a professional career? A professional career is a career that requires a specific amount of education, advanced training. For example, a doctor, a civil engineer, a business manager, a human resource manager. You just require a specific amount of training and experience, so that becomes a professional career. And an entrepreneur is simply you starting up your own business. It's the process of starting up a business, the process of you buying bananas and making a banana juice out of it. You are starting up your own branding. That is what an entrepreneur does. In the new trend, everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. A combination of the two is actually the way to go. Why? Because you will then sieve out what works for you. So this particular video is a startup on how you can combine the two in preparation for whichever you want to go with. I will share with you 4 ways you can go about this. Number one type of integration is where you use your profession to start up a business. That is called professional entrepreneurship. An example is Mr. Mohammed Sahil. He is an entrepreneur, a doctor, and also sits on several boards. For him, he studied medicine and he's part of a group of companies, one of which Medland Hospital is involved. So this particular entrepreneurship is where you use your profession and convert it into starting up a business. That could be a product that you provide, be a process that you provide, or a service that you provide. For example, he studied medicine and he provides medical services. He could also start up his own medical equipment line because he understands the profession. So what a professional entrepreneurship startup simply means is you are starting up a business based on your profession. I'm a civil engineer, for example. I open up a consultancy service for anybody who wants to build, anyone into construction. IT person, for example, you provide services such as websites. You can even provide a product such as a phone. So what a professional entrepreneurship does is simply starting up a business based on your profession, something you're skilled at, something that you have advanced your education. The second type of integration, a way that you can combine your profession and being an entrepreneur, is something you are passionate about. This is outside your profession. You enjoy traveling, so you start up a business as a travel agency. This is a type of entrepreneurship that is different from what your profession is. You can start up a restaurant because you love to cook, but you are a civil engineer. Start up a shoe collection because you love shoes. This is not necessarily related to your profession or trained or skilled professionally in, but this is based on your passion. A great example for this category is Mr. Rowan Atkinson, commonly known as Mr. Bean. We all know him as Mr. Bean from his funny series, Mr. Bean. hence the name, or the famous name, Mr. Bean. But did you know that he is actually an engineer and only switched to full-time acting later on in his life? He actually has a BBA in electrical engineering from Newcastle University. Did you know that? And then he has an MBA, which is a Masters of Science in electrical engineering from Queen's College, Oxford in the UK. He opted to do his PhD as well in electrical engineering, but then decided to transition his career into full-time acting. So to me, this is a very perfect example that you can transition. You have to know where to begin from. I believe Mr. Bean just didn't wake up one day and he said, oh, I'm going to be the funniest guy in the game. He probably would have done a few activities in line with his passion. So you are simply starting up something based on what you love. Another example I will give is Mr. Kendrick Juang. Dr. Kendrick Juang. We know him as the funniest guy in Crazy Rich Asian. So he's known for Crazy Rich Asian and the other movie, I've forgotten the name, but I will set it here. Yeah, he's known for both movies where he's just gotten his fame. But did you know that he was a medical doctor, a physician actually, and practiced licensed in California for 7 years and worked there for 7 years before he transitioned into full-time acting? So yes, you can integrate your profession and something you are passionate about by starting from somewhere. When I read about Dr. Kendrick Juang, actually, he started comedy in university. So you have to begin from somewhere. It just doesn't mean once you are a civil engineer. I'm using civil engineer because that's who I am. Once you are a civil engineer does not mean you're not passionate about other things and you should never pursue them. It's in the pursuit of them that actually life just chooses for you. Number 3 of a type of integration is simply a learned skill. Aside from your career, it's something that you failed at, that you learn and you master and can start a business out of that. I love this because the passion is built in depth from you and you know the struggle. So the energy and the force when you start up a business based on your failure is different. An example is myself. I tried to lose weight. Whatsoever method that's out there, I tried to do it and it never worked for me. So when I figured out what really worked for me, I started up my own business, which is called Her Body Go. If you don't follow me on Instagram, right here at Her Body Go. So what we do with at Her Body Go is I provide consultation services. I also sell gym gear. I help people lose weight, people struggling with weight in the most easiest, fun way that worked for me. So through my failure, I monetized my failure into a business. So I simply started up a business with a learned skill, something that I wasn't passionate about, something that I failed at, and something that aside of my career, my professional career. So actually you can start up a business from something that's failing in your life. Once you master it, people are willing to pay for it because you're an expert in that field. So another great example I will give is with Coca-Cola. If you do your research very well, you will discover that Coca-Cola actually was a failed medication. John Pemberton discovered the Coca-Cola recipe. So the same, like you and I learn a skill and can monetize it because we have the experience from failure. It could also be from success. You are learning something because you are sort of like passionate and curious about it, and later you start a business out of it. A great example would be baking. No skill in baking, but you master the art of baking. Eventually you start up your own bakery, you start up your own coffee shop because you've learned and mastered a skill. Starting up a business because you want to provide a solution. There's a problem that is existing and nobody has ever thought of providing a solution, and here you are, you think of a way of how to better that and start a business with it. So this is simply you starting up a business to provide a solution to a problem, being innovative to find a solution to a problem. You creating that app because it doesn't exist. Let's say the Uber, let's say the Orlando came into existence because somebody thought nobody orders a taxi on their phone. They always have to know somebody or have to walk somewhere to get in a taxi, or they have to take the bus. So if I invent this app, I will be the only one. And guess what? I'm going to sell out. That's how it is. You're simply creating a solution to a problem. Therefore, you are thinking of a business. This could be related to your profession or not, but the whole idea is it's a solution concept entrepreneurship. And I believe this kind of entrepreneurship is thriving in Africa right now because we don't have most of the services, most of the opportunities that people in Europe or Asia may have. With the problem solving entrepreneurship now, that will get you the success you need, because then you are copying an idea and improving it here in Africa. Why? Because we don't have it. We don't have the privilege of now that's when there are more apps of online shopping and whatnot, but previously we wouldn't have those things. And now is the time when you can provide those services because you are providing a solution. Why is it necessary? Why is it necessary for our journey? Remember, on this channel we want to leave a generational legacy. So basically, you have to understand your why, and I will share with you 3 of my favorites. This has been something that has been proven to be true, and that's why I'm sharing it. Number 1 is when you integrate your professional career and being an entrepreneur, you expand your network. What do I mean by expanding your network? You are going to meet various people in whatever business you are starting up. This expands your ideas. This gives you the opportunity to have a different mindset, because then you're meeting people outside your field. It's not only strictly medical related, but you're meeting people in the business field, people who you can start up different companies with, people who will open your mind to think differently, people who will expand your opportunities, because then you have access to different types of people. An example, I met Dr. Mohammed Sahil while I was invited for a conference under my fitness page at Habodigo. I always ask myself this question: would I ever have met him if it was me going as a civil engineer? Under what capacity? Because obviously he has a busy schedule and he has people doing the construction works for him. Maybe he wouldn't have had the chance to meet me, but I went in something he's passionate about at a conference, a medical conference, and I am there. He actually even served me tea. Having the opportunity to meet this person, because I'm coming in as a different brand. So yes, it's very vital that you integrate both of them, because you have an expansion in your network, an expansion in your opportunity, and in your mindset as well. I'm here inspired to even think of a fitness center that has medical services, not only because that's what I wanted, but because I attended the conference. I went to Medland Hospital and I saw how beautiful it is. I'm forced to think different. Number 2 is, if you are going to work in a professional career, you have a fixed income, right? Let's say 10,000 kwacha, that's your monthly income. After tax, maybe you have 9,000, 8,000. That is the amount you're expectant of in your bank account at the end of the month. But if you are an entrepreneur, you get into the opportunity of having a passive income. A passive income is simply earning money in your absence. The business is set out, the business is earning money, and you receive that money. You don't have to be there, but you have to monitor it. But you don't have to actively work, but passively, maybe giving suggestions, check on it. You have an income that is coming aside your main job, and that passive income is variable. Where you have active income, because you are working, you have a specific amount of income. You have no say. It's a fixed amount. You can only negotiate at a certain period. Terms and conditions apply for your salary to have a raise. Being an entrepreneur gives you the opportunity for you to have a variable income. You determine the goal. You determine how hard you want your company to work for you and how much you want to earn at the end of the month. So you have the opportunity to have a passive income, a variable income, and you determine the income rates. You determine the income goals, which is so good. And the last one, which is my favorite because that's what we do here, is the ability to pass on a generational legacy. I always say, if I died today, my engineering degree, my engineering career, my engineering knowledge dies with me. But whereas if I had the opportunity to start up a business, an engineering business, that company can most likely be passed on generation to generation, especially if it's well structured. An example is Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola was founded in 1989 by John Pemberton, a pharmacist. So he created this recipe as a medical prescription for his patients, and then discovered, oh, this is a drink, and sold it off. From when he died up until now, we're able to remember him. I'll put in a table here. For example, these are different types of generation. There's baby boomers, Generation X, Generation Z, and on and on. So if Coca-Cola was founded in 1989, that would be before the baby boomers, right? And it's been able to be carried on from generation to generation. His name is mentioned up to my generation. From 1989, my grandparents died, whoever came died, but we are able to remember Coca-Cola, and it's the most sold out beverage in the world. We're able to remember his profession. So he converted his passion, he converted his profession into a business, and that is why we are able to remember him. His profession has literally been passed on from generation to generation. His idea has been passed on from generation to generation. So when you become an entrepreneur, what you are doing is you're passing on your product, your service, or your process from generation to generation, leaving a legacy for you. Nobody will remember my grandparents because there's nothing that was short for. Maybe they'll just know me as, oh, there's a grandchild, Mwansa. Okay, that's it, and it ends there. But if they created a product, by now everybody will be like, Mwansa, the Chambalina's granddaughter. Like literally, people will know me for my grandparents. An example is Steve Jobs, right? Steve Jobs passes on, but his product is what we use. First Republican president, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, he's passed on, but his legacy is moving on from generation to generation because he made an impact. So when you are an entrepreneur, you are making a tangible impact, even in your space as a professional doctor. I've heard of great doctors who have done amazing surgeries. Their name is carried on from generation to generation, just the name. But if there was a product, even the generations to come will still remember them. Your profession can die today, can die tomorrow. I died. This video will live long. I'm creating a legacy. I'm creating knowledge that's memorable. Miles Monroe, the same. His books, we still read them now. So it helps you pass on financial wealth from generation to generation. Aside the products, there is wealth carried on from generation to generation. So one of the reasons why you and I need to integrate is because we are thinking of leaving a generational legacy, creating generational wealth from one generation to another. How are you going to manage being an entrepreneur and manage being in a professional space? That's one thing that's always a question that you must answer if you want to combine the two, because that can be very challenging. My advice would be having a structured plan. Another challenge is risk. The risk in entrepreneurship is higher compared to your professional career. Professional career, you are guaranteed your salary at the end of the month. You are guaranteed, even if your company failed to pay you, you can sue them. So the risk is not so much high. Whereas being an entrepreneur, the risk is high. And have a product shipped maybe from China into Zambia. There's no insurance. Shipping company just has an accident, all your products are gone. You're transporting products, there's an accident, you lose out. There are losses involved. So risk in entrepreneurship is greater. So that can be one of the challenges, especially if you don't understand risk management. Another challenge is social perception. Social perception is simply what people think. Remember, people are our clients, right? I'll give an example of Medland Hospital. I'll insert it here. This is the number of followings they have, okay? Here is Medland, right? Medland has this amount of following, and this is her body goal. Her body goal has, let's say 1,900 followings. And let's say they provide the same services. You as an individual will think her body goal is successful because of the numbers. So you look down on the services that Medland will provide. Why? Because you're looking at the numbers, the success shown in pictures. That can discourage Medland, right? Especially for startup business. That can be discouraging to them, and you are wondering, when will I get there? Is my product even worth it? When you are looking at the social media perception. But if Medland can look in depth, and I know, because I know they are really doing good with the number of surgeries and all that, they have more income in reality than I would have. I just have the numbers. When you're starting up your business, that yes, numbers exist, but numbers do not matter. You have to put in the work. That's one of the challenges right now. Even when you're beginning a business, you're like, is this even successful? Because another person has more followers than I do. But consistency is key. Dr. Kendrick Zhuang, he was a medical doctor, and because he was perceived of higher career esteem, he says his dad was very disappointed when he heard he wants to quit his medical career for acting. And his dad was like, what will people think of you? Few years later, the dad is like, I'm proud of you because you have come this far. So my question has always been, oh, it's the same dad. He was thinking of what people thought and not what the son wanted to pursue. So even if it's not related to your career, but as long as you're passionate about your consistency, you're consistent and you're willing to put in the work, the reward is going to come. But you have to stick to your commitment. You have to stick to your word and just forget what people think. People will perceive, oh, starting up a business compared to being an engineer. Why are you doing that? You know, I have received same comments. Like, most people actually thought I gave up my career as a civil engineer because I just never shared about it. That does not mean that I don't love it. Other businesses require me to be very active on social media. So that made it look to people like I gave up my civil engineering career. But we're still here, don't worry. In short, social perception can be a killer of a starting up business, can be a killer of a career as well. Let you alone determine what you want with the right consultation and the right process. A side hustle consideration. Most of us, when we're starting up a business, think of it, especially if you have a career, think of it as this is just a side hustle. I really don't like that word, because when you say it's a side, it kind of puts your business into a corner of, it's just one of those things I do. But when you own the business, you say it's a business. It's not a side hustle. I don't consider her body go or the black wallet as a side hustle. I always say it's a business. It's registered with PACRA, therefore I should think big of it. Once you begin to own your business, the effort even improves. Don't consider it as a side hustle. own it, register it, have the right documentation for it, and let it grow. Allow yourself to be a beginner and think of your vision. Your vision has to be big. Don't consider your business small. The other word I really don't like is a small business. What determines a small business, and when does it become big? Okay, so I really don't like the idea of you thinking of your business small. You're beginning small, but the vision is big. Put that in mind. Therefore, the services that you should provide should be as though you have the biggest space, the attention you give your client, the name you want to be known for. Own the business and put in the work. Put the vision to work, not considering, oh, it's a startup, so I have to go, like, it has to grow. Put the energy as though it was big. Think of it big. That's how I think of my businesses. That's how I think of Her Body Go. That's how I think of the Black Wallet. I don't look at them like, oh, it's just online. I think of it like I have a gym. I think of it like, what services can I provide? The content that I will share, the quality that I will bring. Sometimes you have to even invest in it. The lighting, there has to be quality editing. Even if you're doing it on your own, invest in your business. Take the time to learn. Take the time to just put in effort and say, I'm tired of editing the same way. What way can we make this better? On your business. On your business, never call it a small business, never call it a side hustle. It's a business, period. But career transitioning has been a challenge because it can cause both your career to collapse and your business to collapse. How, you may ask? You are just starting up your business and you make your first profits. You're too excited, you decide to quit your job without understanding there are risks involved, without understanding the nature of your business. Once your business collapses, it can cause you to have a heart attack. If you transition, you create a better cushion for your business. You create a better structure. What happens if my business fails? I have enough savings, I have enough investment. It gives your business a better lifespan. It also protects your career and your reputation. You don't want to just wake up one day because you have this business idea, you have this solution that will save Africa, you quit your job. You have to transition through it. It's the new norm. Everybody wants to be in charge of their time. You want to wake up in your own terms and conditions. Yes, we want that, but we want to transition it in a way that it won't affect you. It won't affect your legacy. It won't affect your name. So transitioning is really a challenge. I wanted to transition as well until I spoke to somebody who gave me an insight that I wasn't even looking into. So it's very cardinal important and necessary that you speak to somebody before you transition, a financial advisor, a career advisor. You consult people who can analyze your business. Can your business stand in the future before you transition? This has been an amazing topic for me, and you have the privilege of watching bits of it. I'm basically sharing from the topic that I had to share with at Tsinghua University, where I was speaking on how to integrate a professional career and starting up a business, that is entrepreneurship. So you have the privilege of me sharing with you what I spoke on. This topic is so dear to my heart because, as you may know or already know, I'm a radical investor and also a business owner, and here I am as a civil engineer as well. So I have some experience from trying to integrate both of them, because even when I was a student, I was a business person, I was a business owner. So I've been in this industry for a long time. Having said that, I hope this video was helpful to you. And remember, we are on a journey to leaving a generational legacy. If I die, I must be remembered from one generation to another, and that is what I am doing here. Until my next video, thank you for watching and bye.